important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
So there's different ways to be able to really, if you want to have coffee, then what you do is you neutralize it first before you drink it. You put in a small amount of something that would neutralize the acid, and what I use is coral minerals. It doesn't change the flavor of the coffee. And you know that all good coffee it's not even sold in the United States. We're in the coffee business too. Okay? All good coffee is sold to Europe because we won't spend enough for it. So we get the acidic coffee. And acid, remember, is your worst nightmare. Your body is an alkaline water machine. And once it gets perverted too much with acid, it starts to accumulate and shut down. So what we're doing here is to retrain, modify the body, this machine, so it can become healthier. Does anybody not like the chocolate? Okay? Now, the reason being, like I said, is because this is a simple recipe, and if you mix these superfoods together, you'll notice that you can make them taste really good, but if you take them by themselves, and this is the reason being why most people don't eat the superfoods, is because you have to figure out how to make it taste good. That's a big hiccup. So we're doing a lot of things now to make it so, we're doing a lot of videos, very simple, and or making a lot of products that have a lot of things all mixed up into one at the right ratio, so you can just go like this and just get it done. But actually, as you progress, you like to do it yourself and do whatever you want to do because it's actually part of the fun of doing it. But until you get to that transition, which we'll talk about this, we put this chart together. It took us about 40 hours to sort of think this idea up to be able to put different concepts together so you can choose and pick where you sit. I'm not going to tell you where you're sitting. It doesn't matter if you have this or do this or whatever. Everybody's going up to here, whether you like it or not. Remember, the cosmos are changing. And whatever the sun does and changes to the planets, we live on the planet and we have to change with the planet. And if we don't, like the Chilean earthquake, 23.5 degrees, 21 degrees, remember it's now straighter up and down. A lot of people left the planet because their heart wouldn't morph. So when we really see that whatever planetary changes we're having is only because the sun is doing it. Have you heard a lot about the, well, has anybody watched the History Channel? Okay. They're putting a lot of information out there about the secrets of the sun for a reason. That's a good one for you to Google and watch. It's free. Google History Channel, The Secrets of the Sun. And I call the sun Christos. Remember, we're going cosmic here. We're not talking terrestrial. And once we find out that you've been to the Catholic Church, what do they say? Amen at the end of prayers? You know who Amon-Ra is? Okay, have you ever heard of this before? Amon-Ra is the sun god. And the sun god wakes up every 6,480 years like clockwork. The return of Christos to me, when we go cosmos, is the return of the sun at full breath. So if that happens, what happens to us? We get more light. You notice how there's a lot of chemtrails outside? You ever heard of those? Okay. There's a new documentary that just came out called What in the World Are They Spraying? Is that what it's called? I just watched that last night. Everybody needs to watch these things, and you can't do as people say, what can I do about it? How about you can't do anything about it? All you can do is do what this machine is wanting you to do, is to morph into the energy that you're being pushed into. You're getting pushed into this. So all you can do, again, the standard American diet is 80% of the United States. 80% of all sickness comes from this ring. And you'll notice that it sits in this red spot here, acid. Get a piece of litmus paper, you put it in acid, it turns red. Okay? These people are waking up when they get sick. What do? They go to the doctor, and the doctor's sick too. The doctor doesn't know much better than the patients do. They don't put the doctors on any type of what you'd call terrain idea modification. We need to do this ourselves. These people are moving to this level here called the healthier food section. These people are waking up in the healthier foods, and they find out that a lot of the foods that they're eating right now, because their sisters got this and their brothers got this, grandpa just left the planet here. And they didn't leave, as you would call, as a knight's death. A knight's death would be a very nice death. It was a suffering death, a glandular death. Okay? These people from the healthier food section are going up to the organic foods. The organic food people, they're getting smart and finding out that, like we said, organic watermelon, it's seedless. It's not the way. Sure, it's got one little piece. They didn't put pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides, but that's not true either. You know, we just bought, if you ever see any goji berries and it says organic, you know they're lying, because they get them all from China. And there's no certification there. So when you see Tibetan goji berries, that's not so. You ever been to Tibet? What grows there? Nothing. Nothing. So there's a lot of charlatanism in this New Age movement. I call it New Age charlatans. And a lot of people are really wanting to do, it's not like everybody wants to cheat everybody, it's just that I may tell you something and you believe me. And then you tell someone else, and then they tell someone else, and you've got this long line of disinformation. And you've got a lot of people right now that are what we would call authorities, not really telling you the truth. So whatever we're trying to accomplish here is to expand again what we do know and expand what we don't know. Because we really, remember, we're researchers. We're trying to go ahead and really find out what's the optimum way to live on this planet. And it's called sustainable. It's internal sustainability and external sustainability. Once you become internally sustainable, where your body doesn't run off of yeast, mold, and fungus every 2 hours, it needs to eat these certain foods. Do you get hungry every 2 hours? It's most likely because you may have an infestation of yeast, mold, and fungus.
Do you have something to get rid of that?
Well, it's a terrain modification. Remember, what lives in this body, this is your galaxy. We talked about the galaxy and everything is a micro to macrocosm system. Our bodies is exactly the same as a galaxy. And if you actually shrank yourself down to this micro amount, we're swimming in our own galaxy. The creatures that live inside you, remember, are your children. They're not against you. They're only there because you let them in. And actually not even let them in, you gave them life. And right now, do you think it would be smart for you to kill your child in the exterior world? No. So what makes you think that if you try to fight what lives inside you, that it won't fight back? Because everything wants to live, even a reptilian parasite. All these parasites are reptilian. None of them are warm-blooded, because the definition of a reptile means it needs an exterior source of heat to be able to have a life. We have a cold fusion nuclear reactor. It's called a heart, right? We're warm-blooded, aren't we? Since we're warm-blooded, you could see how these cold-blooded things find refuge within our bodies. And they're not going to leave. They live inside us. And in fact, remember, they most likely own us more than we own ourselves. Discovery Channel did a documentary on the microbes that live within. By the time you're 40 years old, you're 50% at least not yourself. At least not yourself. So what makes you think that you could fight something that you're not? Okay? Or how about what makes you think you can fight something that you are? Okay, remember, these microbes are you. They are inside your body, my body. And what I found out this is my background a little bit. Once you start to really see the truth, you find out that we, as a species, are being grown in many different directions. And you have the power to be able to grow yourself in any direction that you like, once you find out that this is so. So, really, what happens is, parasitology is a big picture, studying parasites. But once you find out you study parasites, you find out, you say, okay, cancer most likely, in my opinion, is a parasite. What does it eat? Wouldn't you ask that question? How does it live? Not some mystery. Cancer. Donate to the Cancer Society for what? Okay, how about cancer's a parasite and it's your child? And it only lives inside you or I is only because we have the terrain to let it. Electrical magnetic fields. That's why this little machine we put together is very important. Feng shui, that's great. But this is electrical smog feng shui. Okay? You go around your house and you check and see what is unnatural in your synthetic household. So if you have your bed against the wall right here and you've got a big set of wires back there, you don't even know that those wires have a big invisible ball of maybe 6 or 7 feet. So you'd want to change your bed against the wall to another wall. Because if not, that electrical current called alternating current is making these things inside our bodies grow. These are parasites. They live off of low energy. They live in a system that we are not. And once you get these things in your system, do you think that they're going to let you manipulate your system out of it? No, they want to live too. So what we do is we actually change. The first thing I like to do is have people start eating chocolate. That's why I brought the chocolate. You start eating chocolate, and what you start doing is you start feeding your brain. Because as above, this is the supercomputer. You think your eyes are here, your nose, your mouth, and your ears are all here for a reason? Because this is the closest area for maximum quick resolution of all things. As above, so below. So waking up the pineal gland, feeding the glands, and really understanding that we're just a machine, and that machine is a battery. Just like Morpheus says, you're just a battery, guys. So how do you become more of a DC current battery? Minerals. So most of the foods that we eat right now are demineralized. That's why when we go to the store, we have NPK foods. Does anybody know what that is? Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. 3 minerals out of a possibility of, let's say, 80 plus.